Anchor connection points. What's the best way to connect your Highline to those nice shiny bolts? Check it out on this episode of how not to Highline.
We'll show you quick links, carabiners, and a whole bunch of other ways how not to Highline.
Here is our 12mm and 10mm oval quick links. Just because they look strong at 74 and 54 kilonewtons doesn't mean you should use these, because these can easily be forgotten to be screwed tight, which significantly reduces the strength. They're extremely heavy. 8 of these will equal over 4 pounds and 8 of these would equal over 2.5 pounds. You may think you're getting 74 or 53 kilonewtons, but in fact you're connecting them to a 25 kilonewton hanger. So it just doesn't serve you any purpose and you're carrying all this extra weight. The span sets do not move in them evenly. I'm pulling really hard through the largest one, and the 12mm quick link does not move smoothly through it. Therefore it'd be hard to equalize, therefore it's only pulling on one bolt, therefore your 74 kilonewton quick link is now reduced the entire system down to one 25 kilonewton hanger. Just because a 10mm or a 12mm Delta quick link looks beefy and allows for a span set to smoothly slide through it to allow a perfectly equalized anchor, doesn't mean you should use these, because you can easily forget to screw them tight. And again, they give you a false sense of security thinking you have a 44 or a 53 kilonewton anchor when in fact you're connecting them to a 25 kilonewton hanger. Here's the 6mm and the 5mm quick link. Just because they're light and just because this is rated for more than the hangers doesn't mean you should use these on span set, because it's not pulling even. It looks stupid to have something that big inside of there, and it's not going to properly keep you safe. This is extremely dangerous, and it's not even worth putting a 5mm quick link on here, because I don't think I could get that span set to fit inside of it. Don't use small quick links with span sets in any situation. Just because that these steel carabiners look strong and are more convenient than a quick link doesn't mean that you should use these, because they can accidentally be left unlocked, or the auto locker could get stuck open. And if these open, they lose the majority of their strength. Another reason you shouldn't use these is because they weigh 2 to 3 pounds in your pack when you're carrying 8 of them. Another reason you shouldn't use steel carabiners is because you're connecting a very strong point back to a 25 kilonewton hanger. And if you think that your system is this strong, when in fact it's this strong, could leave you with some potentially dangerous judgment calls. What about aluminum carabiners? Hell no. Double hell no. There is no just because. Don't ever use a non-locking aluminum carabiner. Even if you did a second aluminum carabiner, they still don't sit on the hanger right, so only this one is actually holding the weight. You can see here that this one's not even touching this hanger. This is a horrible, terrible idea. Same with the double locker. Granted, they're locked, great, they won't open. But they're only rated for 25 kilonewtons. There's no safety ratio between here and here. And again, this is only pulling on this beaner. This isn't even touching the hanger right here. This is a horrible way to connect your Highline anchor. Please do not ever do it this way. I know they're light, I know it's tempting, but do not ever use soft shackles on a hanger or with a static rope that could potentially move, which would cut right through the low melting point soft shackle. Another downside to using oval quick links is when finding a glue-in bolt anchor. So generally when you come across a glue-in bolt, you don't find them sticking out like you do these ones. Generally the weld point is buried in the rock with the glue, so it cannot be twisted once it's in, cracking the glue and pulling out. If you try to connect even a 10mm, this is a 12mm, a 10mm, you can't get it in here without it hitting, and the smaller ovals don't fit on glue-ins. Now here's another shot of the quick links with static rope. You got your 5mm, 6mm, 10mm, and your 12mm. And you can see that through any and all of them, the rope can equalize very well. Don't use these because you can forget to close them and they're connected to hangers which is significantly weaker than the quick link itself. Another reason not to use a 6mm here is because the diameter of the rope should match the diameter of the bend, which is going to significantly reduce the strength of your rope when using a 6mm quick link. Do not use a 5mm quick link because it is almost half the strength of a hanger, and the bend radius of your rope is going to be much tighter than is recommended. Therefore, it's going to significantly reduce the strength of your anchor.
And here's a lesson you can learn from my mistakes. I used a 5mm quick link and forgot to close it. If I didn't have AM steel whoopies, my anchor would have shock loaded.
If you rig with static rope and you come across a glue-in bolt or an 8mm rod hanger, then you don't need any connection point, which means you've eliminated one more point of failure, making your Highline just that much safer. So what is the best way to connect my anchor to the highlining bolts? Every option has a potential risk, therefore you shouldn't use any of them, and therefore you shouldn't highline. Thanks for watching, and always think critically. How Not to Highline series is a guide for slackers interested in transitioning into highlining. We are not here to spoon feed the right rigging techniques. We hope our lessons empower slackers to critically analyze any system that they may use. Risk awareness can keep people alive. Please don't rig your first highline without an expert. We have too many wonderful and generous people in our highline community to go risk your life after watching YouTube tutorials. Remember, let's keep this sport safe. Please don't rig your first highline without an expert. We have too many wonderful and generous people in our highline community to risk your life after watching YouTube tutorials. Let's keep this sport safe. And remember, no system is perfect, therefore you shouldn't highline. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.